Javon, and we're back here with another banger of a reaction video. And today we will be watching the most unfair matches of the Roman Colosseum. So if you guys know, back in ancient times, these motherfuckers used to actually battle 1v1s, real life, for honor type battles.
Start with the unfair and slowly work our way towards the most brutal matchups on the list. Number 10, blind fighters. Endebadia were criminals who would be forced to fight completely blind. They would be given a straight sword and a helmet for protection. Except the helmet was practically a curse, since it was completely sealed off, preventing the fighter from seeing or hearing anything. The fight would begin as soon as the fighters were placed within close range of one another, with the most popular strategy being the swing and pray method, which in all honesty was the only strategy available. Now the good news is that judges weren't really needed for these fights, since the winners were very easy to identify, as they were the only contestants still breathing.
I'm gonna screenshot
now the crazy part is that this spectacle was seen
you,
as comedic relief.
Bro,
more
they
than
had them fight blind,
and
bro.
if you don't think two blind men fighting each other to the death is hilarious, well, you have a lot to learn about comedy. Now, this might not sound that unfair at first, since both men are equally blind and equipped with the same weapon. But think again, since the winner of the match would typically be rewarded with another match, then another one, and another one, and another one.
No.
You get the point. As you can imagine, a winning streak never really lasted for very long. Number 9, naval battles. There was nothing more epic than the naval battles of the Colosseum. Also, one of the most unfair, bloody, and expensive. The event would begin by filling the Colosseum with water in around a dozen ships. It's estimated that thousands of prisoners would participate in these events. But let's talk about what made these battles unfair. Now, depending on the starting position of your ship, it could determine your likelihood of survival. Well, at least for a bit longer, as the odds of survival were almost non-existent to begin with. Ships that started in between two other ships would make for an easy target, easily creating a 1v2 scenario.
Battleship
Prisoners would
IRL,
invade
literally.
other ships, killing everyone that stood in their way, while others would simply use the more popular strategy we see today, which is, of course, running away from all fights and sneaking their way to the final round, where they can hope to steal the win with a single kill. The bloody fight would come to an end when there was only
exactly
one
what I
ship
would
or
do.
team remaining.
Hold up, like, how would you guys play that out? Would you guys be the type to just attack any ship you've seen, or are you guys playing more defensive, letting everyone else fight it out, and then you'll just, like you said, at the end, come in for the last kill, take the dub? I don't know, that's how I probably would play it. Let everyone else, you know what I'm saying? If someone tries to attack me, obviously I have to defend, but try to get into as least amount of battles as possible, I feel like is the method I'm going with there.
As terrible as these battles were,
well, I'm dying either way, so
easy to clean up. The Romans would try their best to remove all the large debris from the water before the stadium would be flushed like a giant toilet bowl, sending all the remains downstream for another town to deal with. Number 8, gladiator fights. Gladiator fights were the single most popular matches of the Colosseum, with the good matchups typically being saved for the main event. Now, how can two gladiators fighting each other be unfair, you might ask? Well, for starters, the emperors weren't really interested in fairness, as their primary concern was entertainment. And with over 20 different classes of gladiators to choose from, the styles would be mixed and matched based on entertainment alone. Here are some of the most unfair and popular matchups. Retiarius versus Secutor. Retiarius were equipped with a net, a trident, a dagger, and minimal armor, while the Secutor was equipped with a sword, a large shield, a helmet, and heavy armor. Go ahead, pick one.
Which one are you picking, bro? The left or the right? You get more shield, more armor, or you get no shield, you get a pickaxe and no armor. Like, what the hell? Definitely the one on the right.
If you chose the Secutor, well, GG's, you're dead.
What?
The Retiarius just had to keep his distance and poke at the Secutor. Or better yet, trap him by throwing his net on him, giving him enough time to emote before poking him to death. Alright, let's try another one. Murmillo versus Thorax. Murmillo were armed with a large rectangular shield, a short sword, a helmet, and a metal or leather sleeve for protection, while the Thorax was equipped with a light shield, a curved sword, a helmet, and a metal or leather sleeve for protection. Go ahead, pick one.
Alright, so curved sword, that little ass shield that she has is not doing much. I'd have to pick left, right? You would pick right this time? You would take the curved sword with the, like, I feel like, what's up with the shield though, man? I don't know. I would take left in my opinion, just based off this photograph right here. Bigger shield, still have a sword. Dude, I don't know, maybe the shield does nothing. More mobility on left? That's what I'm saying. I would take left, bro. I would personally take, I don't know. Let's see. I would take left.
If you chose the Murmillo, rip, you're dead, as the Thorax just had to tire out the Murmillo since he was carrying the heavier shield. As you can see, stylistic matchups were a big deal and could easily influence the outcome of a fight. And I know this might come as a shock to some, but not all gladiators.
Right has more mobility. Okay, that makes sense. That makes
Gladiator
sense.
fights were to the death. A lot of fights would be called off when a fighter took heavy damage, since good gladiators were very expensive to replace. Number 7. Animal battles.
That makes sense.
Humans were not the only ones to have unfair matchups inside of the Colosseum, since animals were also treated like criminals. They would be enslaved, pinned against each other, and humiliated, and were such a popular spectacle that at times, thousands of animals would be slaughtered in a given day, which was completely unsustainable, driving many animals to extinction.
Right.
Here are some of the most popular and unfair matchups that were commonly seen in the Colosseum. Elephant versus rhino. One of the most famous Colosseum battles was when an enraged rhino was pinned against an elephant. With the
elephant versus rhino, chat. Who would you guys choose? Elephant versus rhino. I think they say eventually the elephant wins, but I don't know. Out of 10 battles, I think the rhino might be able to get a few more.
Elephant eventually winning when he decided to cheat by grabbing his
elephant cheated
and gouging the rhino's eyes out.
Oh! Yo, high IQ play by the elephant. Used his trunk, grabbed a spear, and gouged the rhino's eyes out. High IQ play by the elephant right there.
Tiger. This matchup is
lion versus tiger, chat. Who do you guys think will win? Lion versus tiger.
A robbery, as I'm sure the locals would have bet large amounts of money against the guys from out of town,
I think
since
tiger
they knew
wins,
that
right?
the lion always wins, with there only being one recorded incident of a tiger getting the best of a lion. Elephant versus bull. As you can imagine, when an animal has over 10...
Wait. Oh, damn. I'm guessing lions crush tigers all the time? Oh, so lions crush tigers all the time. Damn, I thought a tiger might get him one. All right, elephant versus bull. Who do you guys think would win this one? I'm going with the... Dude, imagine a bull just poking the elephant. Oh, dude, I don't know. Elephant's going to stomp the bull, though. I thought tigers were better as well. I thought they would get him at least once, bro. But lions win almost every time. Only one time a tiger won. That's actually crazy. Okay, so it's saying, as you can imagine, when an animal has 10,000 pounds over its opponent, so compared to the elephant and the bull, I would say the elephant should be able to, like, smash the bull, but I'm getting vibes that the bull would be able to run around the elephant enough, tire the elephant out, and just keep poking at it. Let's find out.
1,000 pounds on its opponent. It's not really going to be much of a fight, is it? But just to make matters worse, sometimes the elephant and the bull would be chained together, forcing the action. And no matter how...
They would chain the animals together to make them fight? Oh my god. I was gonna say the bull would probably run around the elephant long enough to tire it out. Dude, now I think the elephant... I still think the bull, though, could pierce the elephant with its... I don't know. This is messed up, man.
It would always end with the bull being turned to soup. Really quickly...
Oh! The elephant would fuck the bull up. Oh my god.
The other animal fights that were very popular. Rhino versus bear. Rhino versus buffalo. Rhino versus elephant. Crocodile versus hippo. Tiger versus bear. Bear versus bull. Bear versus wolves. Goro versus scorpion. Lion versus bull. Lion versus bear. Lion versus panther. Lion versus chimp. Lion versus hyenas. Lion versus basically any animal the Romans can get a hold of. Number 6. 1 versus 2. This matchup can be unfair for either side depending on the circumstances. Let me explain. There are 2 scenarios in which this matchup can take shape. 1. A high-level gladiator will take on 2 prisoners simultaneously, and as the prisoners try their best to figure out how to properly hold a sword, they will realize that it's very difficult to do so, since their hands are no longer attached. Now, the second scenario is a bit more fair. 3 well-trained gladiators were placed inside of the Colosseum. 1 gladiator would be given heavy armor and a good weapon, while his 2 opponents would receive minimal armor and worse weapons. The duo would need to work together to defeat the better equipped man.
Oh, okay, so at least you give the one by himself an advantage with, like, armor and weapon, but he's still at a disadvantage because it's 1v2. But technically, isn't he at an advantage? Technically, if the guy that's by himself is fully armored up, he's at an advantage. He's basically at the advantage, right? What's up, Eddie?
Being partnered up
is
not as easy as you might think, and does come with its own set of challenges, like knowing whether you should go for the res or attempt to clutch up when your partner inevitably goes down. The last and final way that a gladiator can be outnumbered is during large-scale battles. This one is, of course, purely based on luck alone, and doesn't always mean that you will see a 1v2 matchup. As it just might be a 1v6, depending on how bad your team is.
Oh my god, a
Number
1v6,
5, woman versus dwarf. Emperor Domitian
woman versus dwarf. All right, let's hear about this one. A woman versus a dwarf was a battle they would have. What time you fought? I fell asleep at like 9, bro.
The legendary
like 9
matchup,
p.m.
woman
Do me a favor,
versus
shake
dwarf.
that.
And I have to admit, this is the only battle on the list where a clear winner was not well documented. But even with the little information we do have, I have a gut feeling that it just wasn't a fair matchup. I'm just not certain for whom. You see, on one hand, you have a fully grown woman who obviously has.
I know, Eddie. Why don't you call me, bro?
While on the other hand, you have a male.
Why don't you call me, bitch? No, I'm
just
kidding. My bad.
Obviously uses magic.
Need new pants.
How much stronger? Well, I'm not sure.
Disgusting,
I did, however, stumble upon this forum where a guy asked the same question back.
Okay, what up? It says, are dwarf men generally weaker or stronger physically than non-dwarf women? Oh God, hold up. That's a good question.
11. Now, sadly, people just replied back with even more interesting questions that
could a dwarf beat a Labrador in a fight?
We will never get the answers to. And of course, naturally, the entire forum devolved into guys just bragging about how many dwarves they can take on at once.
I could easily take on 3 dwarves.
One of the most bizarre things about this matchup was that...
Alright, Sai Eddie chat. How many dwarves do you guys think you could take on? Honestly. Like, realistically. How many dwarves do you think you could beat in a fight? 5 dwarves. 10 dwarves. Alright. I would give myself maybe 5. Eddie, yeah, it would be a little... Eddie, I can see that. 10?
Since he preferred this battle, 10? It was illuminated by...
What's the method of victory, though? Do you win, or do they just like, if unlimited would come at you, would 10 be the end? Like, that's the limit you could take? Or you just feel like if there was 10 maximum, you would be able to beat all of them at once, right there, right then? Or if it's like 1 at a time, how many do you think you could take? Like, they just beat one, they throw another one at you. Boom, they throw another one at you. Kicking the shit out of them. Damn. What if one of them gets a takedown on you? I know, Baby Hulk could wrestle. Hey, Baby Hulk could wrestle. But if there's like, okay, so if they just throw just one amount at you, a group of them, I would say 10. But if it's like 1v1v1v1v1v1, I could probably go through like 25 of them before I genuinely get like tired and cannot fight anymore. Because I think it would take a few shots just to get them really like fucked up.
In 2010, a female gladiator's remains were found in England. After they were examined, it was concluded that the woman's legs and arm bones were unusually
Nobody under
heavy,
5'4" taking me down, bro.
that she had strong muscles. You know, I was originally leaning towards the dwarf, but now I really don't see how they could possibly win. Number 4, wild.
Wait, the woman won? Wait, the woman won? Oh shit.
His legs and arm bones were unusually heavy, suggesting that she had strong muscles. You know, I was originally leaning towards the dwarf, but now I really don't see how they could possibly win.
Vaughn Reacts. Should make another channel for that.
Hunts. Perhaps one of the most unique spectacles of the Colosseum
we'll eventually change the name of
wild
this channel
animal
to that.
hunts. Here, the entire Colosseum arena was made to resemble the animal's natural environment.
Okay.
A few men were then brought out to the arena, equipped with small shields and weapons. Then, for the next few minutes or hours, the arena would be slowly filled with terrifying predators. But if they really wanted to get the crowd on their feet, all the animals would be released at once. Sometimes the men who were fighting the lions, bears, and panthers would have been well-trained fighters, while other times they would have been condemned criminals who were just given the death sentence and stood 0 to no chance of winning.
Right.
Here are some of the animals you could have expected to make an appearance. Lions, tigers, bears, elephants, rhinos, panthers, leopards, hyenas, wolves, boars, bulls, deers, ostriches, crocodiles, giraffes, camels, and shiprats. Of course, shiprats were not invited, but they showed up anyways. Number 3 is Beast. Man versus Beast matches were one-on-one battles and were the second most popular spectacle, only behind gladiator fights. Now, there were basically 2 ways that this matchup would be arranged, with both of them tailored for maximum entertainment for the crowd.
Okay.
The first one was when a professional slave or volunteer fighter known as a bestiarius would face off with a terrifying beast. The animal could be anything from a lion, leopard, tiger, bear, or any other large and powerful creature. These battles would typically end with the animal being defeated, even if the bestiarius took heavy damage. On the other hand, the second matchup was much more bloody and typically ended with the man being torn to pieces. Here, a criminal or prisoner of war would be forced to face off with the animal. With little to no training, it was only a matter of time before the man would become an anatomy lesson. And it definitely didn't help that the animals were starved for long periods of time before they were brought out.
Bro, they were literally at the point where they were honestly fighting for survival, and they were like, imagine just being a weak man with little to no armor, little to no sword, and you're literally fighting the hungriest, biggest, meanest animal that they could find. Why would they?
More angry and aggressive.
This was entertainment.
Lion that took out over.
Wait, hold up. What are they about to say? A lion took out
making
over 200
them a lot more
people.
Angry and aggressive. There was even a single lion that took out over 200 men before it was finally defeated.
Buddy's racking up his KD.
Record,
bro, KD's nasty.
Really fought nothing but tomato cans.
Yeah, Buddy Buddy took the Khabib route. Buddy literally took the Khabib route. And you're not putting a bear in a rear naked choke. Is this good entertainment, bro? I'm putting a bear in a full Nelson, but they gotta claw it or something. That thing's just gonna reach behind. You're gonna choke it. It's just gonna reach behind you and just literally scrape your face the fuck off. Like, you gotta really dig your head into the back of its neck, because if it gets its claws, like just fucking.
To mention, there is another event that was very
off.
popular and is somewhat related, where a criminal was tied to a stake.
What?
And a wild animal would be released to eat him alive.
Oh!
You would think that this would be one of those situations where if you've seen it once, then you've seen them all type of deal. But apparently, some emperors love to show this one quite often. Number 2, prisoner versus professional gladiator.
Oh, they would literally just hang you up on a stake and let an animal just go at you. Ah, disgusting. It's like UFC. But he's fighting a ultra heavyweight.
Matchups of the Colosseum was when prisoners would face off against a professional and seasoned gladiator. The professional gladiator could have been a slave himself with many fights under his belt, or a volunteer gladiator that was part of one of the many gladiatorial schools. Either way, the criminal with 0 to no experience was basically sentenced to death. You see, what could be worse than being invaded, enslaved, and kept inside of a cell for days, just to be given a weapon you have never used, then pushed to the center of the Colosseum floor.
Bro, imagine
only
the
for Spartacus
pressure.
To make his walkout shortly after you.
Oh, shit.
Number 1.
I'm saying, I would have been an alright one. I probably would have had like a 3 KD. But he said 6 or 7. Bro, come on, Sai. 6 or 7
shortly after you.
I probably only had 3 KD. Number 1, rigged fights. Of course.
Rigged matches.
Of course, everything in this life's rigged.
Was definitely the worst offender when it came to rigged matches.
Emperor Commandus, what a bitch.
180 to 192 AD, and was even portrayed by Joaquin Phoenix in the 2000 film Gladiator. Commodus was obsessed with becoming a famous and well-respected gladiator, so much so that he would even compete himself. Well, if you could even call it that. An emperor fighting as a gladiator was unheard of. Now, of course, Commodus had the best training in all of Rome and was actually very talented with a sword. But that wouldn't stop him from rigging fights by secretly injuring men just moments before they were brought out to face him. His opponents were injured in a way that could be concealed under their armor, but be devastating enough to hinder their performance or make a limb unusable. Another strategy that the emperor would use was simply fighting men with 0 to no experience, making for another easy W. Emperor Commodus would have the longest undefeated record as a gladiator, and it's suspected that he competed hundreds of times. He would also charge the Roman treasury around 25,000 pieces of silver every time he competed. There are many things you could call Emperor Commodus, but one thing you can't say is that he ever discriminated, since animals were also injured and thrown in to face him. Apparently, he killed hundreds of lions, ostriches, some giraffes.
So he would only face injured opponents with little to no experience, or injured animals. Come on, bruh. Come on, bruh.
And even killed 3 elephants that were just laying on the floor. Now, as horrible as this all sounds, this was all just a warm-up. And in November of 192 AD, he held the Polybian Games, a festival that lasted around 2 weeks. There, Commodus shot hundreds of animals with arrows and javelins every single day. But if it makes you feel any better, 1 month after the Polybian Games, Commodus would be strangled to death inside of a by a professional wrestler named Narcissus.
Hey, yo. That's what Commandus gets. Literally taking the leech route away. Like, taking the leech route, bro. Literally just rigging fights, fighting the weakest opponents. He got what he deserved at the end of it. He got strangled in his bathtub by Narcissus. That's kind of crazy.
Man, that has
to be he didn't want to lose his rank. Exactly. If he fought someone like the same skill as him or a fair fight, he probably would have lost, and then he would have, like you said, he would have lost his fucking rank, bro. That would have been tough. But hey, that's where the honor comes from, bro. You have to earn that shit.
Kid inside of a cold tub.
He lost all of his honor.
You can't even explain your way out of that one.
Literally. Ayo, W video here by. Make sure I give this guy credit, man. W video here by Good Enough. Make sure you guys.
Our founders.
Make sure you guys follow that.
Let's start with the unfair and slowly work on it.
Hold up there. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Good Enough. Drops banger videos. And yeah, this was a really good one, Chad. Honestly, what do you guys think was the most brutal thing that you guys heard in that video? I would say, honestly, just allowing people to get tied up to stakes and allowing animals to just go at them however they want is pretty brutal to me. But I don't know. Animals going like also Commandius just being a bitch. He deserved that at the end, honestly. I kind of like that. I like that. That was kind of like a feel-good story at the end because, you know, when people do that kind of shit, man, they act like at the end of the day, man, don't do dirt, man. Don't do dirt. You always get what you deserve, man. If he probably wasn't doing dirt like that, he probably would have ended up strangled in his bathtub. W video. And yeah, it's super fun. Make sure you guys hit that sub button. Peace, YouTube.